Yeah, it really was a great night, and the mayor's she's awesome. So was the CEO, so it was nice to see the powers that be up in Tetra Gully, and a really nice night. Now, speaking of different offices, and we've got a very large rent roll, as some may or may not know, and running that rent roll, we've got a couple of our most senior people in the studio here with us today, and that is Kerry Ackmans and Deb Copley.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi Anthony.
Now,
good to see you.
I wanted you particularly to come in and talk to us today because this week's been an interesting week. And in the life of tenancy and the life of landlords, some of the things that came across my desk today were quite extraordinary. They didn't seem to be common sense, and I thought it'd be good to share with everybody the kind of challenges that are day to day for you guys. So before we get into it, Kerry, General Manager of the Property Management section, tell me about the rent roll, how big it is, and a bit of detail about it.
Well, our understanding is that the rent roll is one of the largest in South Australia. It's 2,000. So that means a lot of challenges for us because for a lot of people they're renting for the first time, landlords are investing for the first time, and constantly, as you know, for yourself living in a house, things go wrong. So every day there's a lot of challenges, and it's our role to manage it. And really, for landlords, they are in the business of housing people. It is a business and we manage that business for them. So we put processes in place and help them bridge that understanding. And of course there's legislation that governs all of the activities of landlords and tenants and how it should be run.
Deb, you're one of the senior property managers and helped us earn the Hall of Fame, I think, for the large residential agency.
That's right.
So your job, you've been in 7 odd years, and your day-to-day activities?
Yeah, I'm the asset manager of the city portfolio, so most of my properties are based in the city themselves, a lot of apartments and things like that, but I'm also the team leader of the Norwood Property Management Division.
And your background is in insurance?
Yes, I've spent 15 years in insurance working for SGIC.
That's a big part of property management as well?
Certainly is. You're dealing with properties all the time with household insurance.
Now, to make sure we get through some of this, I've actually got some structured questions, so let's run through those. And then I actually want to drill down a little bit deeper on some of these issues that are happening. Currently, there's seems to be rising tension between tenants and landlords, which has not been normal. Why?
We seem to find that tenants view the property before they submit their application. They don't take a lot of notice of the property, so therefore when they get in, they expect that the property is going to be updated. So they don't take into consideration the age of items that are in the property, the condition when they viewed it. It may not be a brand new property, so it's very hard to get it back to pristine condition before they move in. Quite regularly when we do our ingoing inspection reports, there's no power at the property. So if we've got an apartment in the city with no bathroom light or no window, we can only hope that it's clean. We can't actually check that properly.
But if I was a landlord, would not argue that that's your job as an agent to have the lights on? What's changed? Because something's changed.
Yes, what's changed is previously ETSA used to go in and read the meter when a tenant vacated but leave the power connected. Then read the meter again when the new tenant moves in so that they've still got power. Now they actually disconnect the power as soon as the tenant vacates, and then they don't connect it until the next tenant moves in on the day of their move-in.
Now I hadn't even occurred to me that this, until today, we're talking about it. So what does a real estate agent do? Because it's obviously not working to go in the dark. So how do you think that this can be solved, given that this is only a new problem?
The only alternative would be for an owner to put the property's power in their name between tenants, which most tenants won't do, most owners, won't do. They don't want that power bill that comes in because you've got the cost of connecting the power as well as the usage.
There is a measure that we have in place in terms of ingoing inspection report, which is actually part of the legislation that we provide, and we take photos as well. So at the beginning of the tenancy, the tenant needs to complete that and state, well, this wasn't clean or this wasn't working, and they have 14 days to return that. So at the end of the tenancy, that's then used to look at any bond claim disputes. So if you like, that's the holding document, and we also take photos of the property.
So just going back to power, because I'm quite fascinated with this.
Yeah.
In the old days, the power never went off.
That's right.
Basically, because I remember houses that were months old, empty, we were selling them and the power would always remain on. Was this part of the privatisation of the whole electricity grid or the system, where there's different suppliers?
It's probably been the last 2 years. I think the majority of the problem comes from between the two tenancies. Nobody wants the responsibility of paying for that account, and ETSA now won't provide that service for free either.
And utility prices are going up, so no one wants to pay
So
for that
it's
short amount of
become a
time.
big cost.
It has.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so that's a new challenge.
That's
Yes.
right.
Now, also had reports that it took, for one client, up to 2 days to get it connected after it had been ordered. Is that normal, or is it normally quicker than that?
Normally it's quite quick. The only issue comes from if a power meter box is inside an apartment and they can't get access to it, or it might be in a garage downstairs in the car park.
High-rise tower?
That's right. So then they've got to get access through the building manager, and that's hard to coordinate.
And it is actually the tenant's responsibility to get the power back on, and they're dealing with another party as well, and things do go wrong, which was that issue where they
So-
just didn't turn up for 2 days.
Yeah, they did, yeah, because they turn up, they've got, right, now, this is a big one because obviously they've come from overseas. How would you normally get around that in the future, or what is there a solution, or is it just something that needs to be expected?
I think it's something they need to expect. The hard part is that ETSA will say the power can go on anywhere between 7 a.m. and 12 midnight, so you've got to have someone there to give them access.
Right. Now, this is just one issue. I've got about 20 here. We're running out of time, but I'm going to come back to this at the end of the show because I've got a stack of questions to ask you girls.
Great.
Sure.
Okay. In the meantime, let's go and have a look at some properties that have been sold in our Going, Gone segment.